In this episode of Relax and Take Notes, we discuss how we got here as a culture, from family secrets to acknowledging the truth and questioning the way that we were raised. But first, here's a message from our sponsor, and be sure to like and subscribe.
Are you or anyone you know suffering with high blood pressure, diabetes, or cholesterol? Well, the solution is here, and it's olive leaf extract. Olive leaf extract all-natural formula helps lower diabetic blood sugar, lower blood pressure, as well as cholesterol. And did I mention it's also good for candida and eczema? For more information, go to shopmyoliveleaf.com.
What's good, Relax and Take Notes family? This your brother DJ Jordan, and I'm back with Love Dorsey.
I'm here.
In our last conversation, it was litty in the city,
Right.
as
Deep
we say,
and real and necessary.
Deep.
Everything that every conversation
delving
has
into
been.
this whole manipulation piece.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
it got deep, and I hope that the audience, gets a lot from it, because we could have talked about that another 2-3 hours.
Yep.
You know
and
what I mean?
I love that you created a platform to have these real conversations in a mature way. I
Yeah.
got to say that, like, much props and giving you your flowers as it in real time as it's going on, because it's not a lot of conversations like this going on at all.
Well, I definitely appreciate that, and I would say there's not a lot of people who bring what you bring to
Right.
the conversation.
Right.
You know what I mean? And so, like we said again, there's no shortage of relationship conversation. Shit, every other podcast is a relationship podcast. You know what I mean?
Unqualified and talking up a storm.
No experience, untested.
Yep.
You know what I mean? And so, so I tell people all the time when they ask me, how do I know what to believe? Right. I say, well, if you ain't built shit, it don't matter what you believe.
Yep.
You know what I mean?
Yep. Ooh, that's so real.
Yeah, if you ain't building nothing,
Yep.
you can believe whatever.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? It don't matter.
Yep.
It is of no consequence.
Yep.
It's only when you begin to build something
Yep.
and you're able to test what I'd refer to as your social theory of change.
Yeah.
What you believe
I
will
love it.
actually come to you.
I love it. And it's funny that you use that exact verbiage, your social theory of change, because, I do a lot of Zooms, a lot of one-on-one phone calls. I give out a lot of book titles. I send people videos per their request on topics that are just about applying the information. It's giving you the information, but then I'm giving you the information with the intent for you to apply it.
Right.
There are a lot of people with relationships in every other area that we're connecting on. They're not actually working on building anything.
No.
So they talking up a storm, watching all these podcasts, and then even when you're just viewing two people do it wrong, you still do nothing with the information to improve upon how you're going
Right.
about building whatever you're building, because you ain't building shit.
You ain't building shit. You ain't building shit. And unfortunately, even with the best of intentions, a lot of these platforms are simply entertainment.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Even though
Yeah, you gotta know the difference. They're not
you gotta
wrong
know the
for that.
difference. You know what I mean? Because entertainment has its place. But I don't like to be operating under the guise of or pretending as if we're having a serious conversation when at the end of the day we're just entertaining each other.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And so I look at, if it doesn't move us from where we are to where we need to be,
Yeah.
it's entertainment. You might as
Yeah.
well be going to a Beyonce concert,
Yeah.
because it's the same thing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? At the end of the day.
My feel for our people and our culture is when we watch certain things, from reality shows to different podcasts or, just YouTube content, I feel for those that cannot see past the vanity
Yeah.
and look at the content and determine what you said. Because I've noticed for women, we will look at platforms or shows or podcasts, channels, and if the woman looks really pretty, even if she's saying some dumbass shit, we would just
Right.
be like, yep, what she said.
Right.
And it's like, no, it's not what she
No,
said. It's
it's
actually
not.
very, very bad. She's very beautiful, but that shit coming out her mouth is trash.
It's trash.
And then I see young men under the same token. He got a chain on. He iced out.
Yeah.
He pulled up in what?
Something
like Big
foreign.
Bruh said.
Yeah. Mhm.
No.
Right.
Like
He
it's
got the success kit.
yes.
Yeah.
He got that it's the vanity starter kit though, because the stuff that's coming out
Yeah.
is killing us.
Yeah, it
and for
is.
men, literally it's killing y'all.
Yeah, it is.
For us, it's like steering us in the wrong direction to where young girls is just, I mean, the stuff that you hear them get off of these shows or play. Well, so-and-so on the one show, she did this, or she went about it like this, or she said, and it's like, no, listen, you should look at her for the next nicest hairstyle. Those shoes she had on, you should comment. Bitch, where you got them from?
Right.
You should ask like where that outfit
Right.
from? Who did
Yeah.
your body?
But
Who
don't
do your
take it no
makeup?
more serious than
Past
that.
that, ma'am,
Yeah.
move on from that
Right.
shit. Laugh, cry, relate in the
Right.
moment, and then get the fuck up out of it.
Right.
Don't
Yes,
take no
yeah.
philosophies
None.
off that motherfucking show platform,
Right.
whatever it was, because they saying some bullshit.
Yeah.
And I'm afraid for our youth because at home we're not even telling them this is the difference between key intellectual information and then here's entertainment. Here's
Yeah.
the drama channel. Here's the, you know what I mean? Like we're not having these conversations
we're
at
not.
home.
We're not. And you know, okay, so you got me started once again. I began to look at where did this come from historically, right? Because our community was not always like this. You know what I mean? We historically have been a people who have been very cohesive, right? Have been very connected.
Yeah.
That was the hallmark of black people being in America. That
Yeah.
was the one group that you could point to
Yeah.
as an example of people who live life the right way.
Yeah.
Under oftentimes the worst conditions.
Yep.
And I'm talking about us collectively.
Yes.
Of course, we know internally we've always had our issues because
Yep.
the trauma has always been there.
Yep.
But what the outside world, those that were not of our racial ethnicity or what
Yep.
have you, could say those are the people.
Yeah, that's
you
why
know what
they've
I mean?
always been fascinated with us. Oh my God, look at them.
They call it the conscious of America.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? We represented that. But I'm gonna tell you, there's this whole notion of subjective truth, right? That I think has its root in the process of really destroying our culture, where we said you can have your truth and I can have mine.
Yeah.
And there's only one truth.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? Now we can have a different perspective.
Yep.
We can have a difference of opinion.
Yes.
But truth
Yep.
is one truth.
Yes.
And so when you come with this whole notion of subjective truth, it creates this level of people don't have to be accountable for what they do.
I'm laughing because I've been saying this for years,
see what
and
I'm
it's
saying?
so what you saying is so offensive to people.
You see?
I 100% agree. I understand. I see, but people are so offended when you
yeah.
say that. When you say there's only one truth. Well, what about? Because I just don't see. Hold on. We have to start holding one another accountable to a certain thing, which
To a
is
certain
truth,
thing. It's
right?
truth,
A certain
right.
standard, which is the standard that is truthful for us to do better.
Exactly.
Right? As a
Exactly.
community, as a culture, in so many different ways and areas, but we're so big on, no, don't make them wrong.
Right.
Don't say that they can't.
Don't judge, don't condemn, don't.
Yep.
Certain things have to be
Yep.
condemned.
Yep.
You see what I'm saying?
I'm going to tell you, one of my main ways of deciding if somebody is a good person, if I can fuck with them, right, is can you take a straightening? I don't even care what
Absolutely.
your flaws,
Right.
fucked up points is. I know growth. And I know that through feeding
Maturity.
somebody information, if their heart really there, their actions is, gonna align based on what they have. And if they in the right environment, you get around me, I'm gonna influence your ass to get on
Right,
some shit.
exactly.
Right? So I'm cool with wherever you at, right? With
Your
your
starting
current,
point.
yes, right, your starting point. No problem with that. Can you take a straightening?
Yeah.
And this is your ability to, in the moment, allow a peer or somebody in your family unit to give you a straightening, that handling that you're describing. That,
Right.
hold on. You might have your feelings, your perspective, your views, your this. This is
Yeah.
truth. Here is where you went wrong.
Yeah.
Can you do better? If you
Yeah.
could take that, we could ride to the moon
we
and
could
back.
rock because you've already submitted to the fact that I submit to the adjustments that are required
Yes.
for me to get right.
Yes. And I don't even like people that don't hold me accountable.
No,
I can't
that
grow.
ain't a
I
friend.
don't want to
That-
be
that
the
ain't-
smartest
that ain't-
person in the
that
room.
ain't a
I
friend.
don't, yes.
That ain't a soulmate. That
Come
ain't a
on.
husband. That ain't a wife. That's just somebody you know.
Yep.
You know, that can easily turn into an enemy
Yep.
if you're not careful,
Yep.
because that person doesn't have a
Yes,
standard.
and I start to go into a space of, okay, maybe you're not intellectual enough to be in this room because it seems like you are never catching anything that you could bring to me.
Right.
Anything that you can help me. Or
I'm
on the
constantly
other
feeding
side,
you.
maybe you're seeing stuff and you ain't saying nothing,
Right.
wanting to see me keep getting it wrong.
Right.
Either way, you better speak up.
Yeah, either
Talk
way.
to me, because if I see it on you, I'm gonna say something.
Right.
Hey, bro, you out of pocket on that.
Yeah.
Hey, man, no, you the same way I'm gonna be in your corner when we winning.
Yeah.
If we lose it, I'm gonna help you evaluate what the fuck you and I
Have to.
both need to change to do better.
Let me know how you were thinking, or what you were thinking when you did this, or when you said
Yes.
this. You see what I'm saying?
Yes.
What is how do you reason?
Yeah.
Right? Because that's actually what we
Yes.
do.
Yes.
You know what I mean? How do you reason and come to the conclusion? Because I don't necessarily mind you coming to a wrong conclusion.
Yep.
My thing is how
How'd
you
get
got there.
Come on. This
If
is
I
when the
can
teacher say,
understand-
show your work.
You see what I'm
you
saying?
wrote the right answer on the math problem. Mr. So-and-so,
Show-
can I
show
see
me
your
how
work?
you get there.
Yes, because I need to know that you get this or you don't, or in your math, you might have been headed with the right intentions in the correct direction. Here's the part where you added the 7 and the 9 and you came up with the wrong amount, and that's what made your end result look. Lay it out for me.
Lay it out.
Lay it out.
What is your process of reasoning or deduction that causes you to arrive at this particular conclusion?
But see,
right?
what you're I love what you're saying. What you're describing is the reason why we need to be willing to listen to one another.
Yes,
with
absolutely.
the intent to understand.
Yeah.
Because I can sit and listen to what you say all day. But do I comprehend what you're expressing, right? Even if you was wrong, do I understand in your mind the work, how you got that answer?
Yeah.
Because honestly, the answer is the least of the worries. The mess up in the work is where we need to get an understanding and
It's
straightening
where the
that,
real work
because
is.
that's going to
Yeah.
determine if you get the next problem wrong.
Right. Exactly.
You can say,
Yeah.
yep, I got this particular problem wrong. I see what you're saying. But if you don't understand the error in when you were doing the work, you will do that same work on a new thing and come out with the wrong answer again.
Consistently
Yes.
wrong. And you will live life consistently
Yep.
wrong based on your inability to come up with or to explain your process
Yes.
or reasoning of how you got to this conclusion or
Yep.
made this
You ever
particular
seen-
set of decisions.
I love what you're saying. You ever seen somebody that got frustrated because they couldn't explain to you why they said the original thought they
Of
said?
course.
You see it on podcasts.
Yeah, all the time.
Explain
Yeah.
what you mean. Explain what you're saying. Well, I'm just saying, why y'all attacking me? Now we doing something to you
Right.
because you
The
can't
defense
break
mechanism.
down how you got to this. And it shows a lot of people don't think. They just
don't
do
think
shit.
they really don't know why they do what they do. You see what I'm saying? So they're just reacting to a particular emotions or what have you.
Yep. Or repeating a habitual behavior
Right.
that they
Something
got
that's familiar.
from upbringing, doing the same function they seen somebody else do and have no reason or rhyme or understanding for why.
Why
This
do
is
you believe what you believe?
Yep.
Yeah, why do you believe? And oftentimes we will say, I was raised like this.
Yep.
But
Ooh.
intelligent people come to question how they were raised.
Come on.
You
Come
see?
on.
Intelligent people come to question every aspect of
Yes.
of themselves.
This
and
is
I
how
ain't
you-
saying just one time, over and over again.
Come on, come on.
That's
And
what-
he literally giving y'all the blueprint on how to unlearn, relearn,
That's it,
rebuild
yeah.
yourself, grow yourself into who you want to be so that you can build or find your tribe. You giving them the game on that. That's really the starting point. Because once you start doing that, then you start chasing information. Watch this. You don't
Yeah.
start out
Yeah.
attracted to researching history and figuring out new information about politics in my community and culture and, relationships and wanting to go to therapy. You don't wake up and just want to do that shit.
Yeah.
If we real, this is not fun stuff.
Right.
What makes it fun and attracting is when you look at where you come from and you realize the things that were incorrect about that, and then you want to correct them. Then it makes you go get the book out of the
make you-
library,
yeah.
or order that particular thing off Amazon, or go to that seminar, or start chasing this particular information, or say, hey, let me go to therapy and at least start
Yeah,
talking about
exactly.
some of this shit. That's the groundwork.
It makes you serious.
Yes.
It makes you serious. But for those who want to stay in this space of just play.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You can ride out on that. And in America, actually wants you to be that way.
Yeah.
America needs to, I always say the ultimate expression of power is when you have the ability to walk away from the very thing the system needs you to want.
Yep.
You see what I'm saying?
Yes.
So when it no longer has any
Say that again.
consequence, the ultimate expression of power is to have the ability to walk away from the very thing the system needs you to want. The system needs us to want certain things. Our goals, the things that we strive for, our values have to be rooted in certain things that the system requires us to want. That's how it functions. But the day that you no longer require that and you say, you know what, this no longer has any value in my life, I choose this over this, you've taken your power. It's just like with an abusive relationship or whatever. Be trying to change the boyfriend or the girlfriend. No, change you. And you've already changed the relationship by changing you.
Because an abuser has a type. They can only thrive with that abusive ass behavior with a certain type of person. So it's something wrong with both of y'all. And you know, from a victim mentality space, it's like, oh, she's blaming the victim. No. I'm giving you the root, the game on how to take your power back.
How to
change what's happening to you from a space of not being a victim and empowering yourself to the point where you boss up past even needing this to feel whole or to feel validated or to feel like a family. You will start to move on to bigger, better things, and not that they look bigger or better, but they're bigger and better for you.
Yeah. I know last time you were here, a couple conversations back, I touched on this aspect, and we're going to get to the subject, hopefully. I touched on this whole notion of the man being the breadwinner, right? And, you know, I'm mindful of how we as men, we can inadvertently set ourselves up for failure, right? Because we take on these kind of arbitrary things of that denotes in our mind manhood, right? That really have no, or not rooted in manhood at all in terms of who makes the most money in a relationship, whether I make more money than my wife or whether or not my girl makes more money than me. Touch on that, Love Door, because a lot of brothers are getting mixed up with that right now.
Because I have a question for you, right? And you know, I'm sure people are gonna, you know, try to answer in the comments. But when and my main concern is with black men. I'm gonna be very blunt. I'm a black woman. I understand my culture and where I come from, and I have certain agendas in regards to remedying and reforming certain things about the mind of my people, right? So when I look at black men, I see from, and I know, you know, the root of where a lot of it comes from, but from their upbringing, I see a lot of issues, especially when you're raised by a woman, especially when you lack healthy relationships with male figures older than you and in your peer category. Healthy relationships and bonds, not trauma bonds, not I gotta fuck with you because we was locked up together, not genuine where we are resources to one another, right? When I see, you know, I see it a lot in men coming from these scenarios, but even some from others, I see a lack of understanding on multiple streams of income, credit and leveraging credit, building a foundation for themselves before chasing booty, right? And understanding just the basic needs for themselves before booty, right? And so when I'm saying this, my question to you is this something that you guys discuss amongst men that, hey, we're seeing a lack of attraction to this, or from y'all view, is it a lack? I'm seeing a lack. Like, I'm seeing men care about so much other shit other than this stuff, to the point where, you know, even on my platform, I've made videos speaking on, as a man, you're not a catch unless you have these foundational things, right? Has nothing to do with being the richest nigga, chains, watches, businesses, being a billionaire, none of that stuff. Just the foundational things I went over, and there were so many men that got triggered. I know what triggered looks like. So I can tell they triggered because they all off talking about other shit, deflecting from
and what she did.
And what she did and what the way I said it or how I sound. Just do you see that same thing amongst black men? Do you notice a lack in care for those things?
I do, and a lot of it is generational, right? You know, we talked about this before too. We are existing in probably now the 5th generation of just damn near absolute brokenness when it comes to black men, right? So each generation gets perpetually worse. Meaning that generational connect, that cultural transference, that information that's supposed to be passed from one generation to the next, you see it in women, but you also see it in men.
That's why I said lack of a relationship with older men.
To where men don't understand the foundational things of what makes a man a man.
Yes.
They think manhood is only rooted in doing.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Being there for everybody else and not yourself.
Yeah.
I say that there's a fundamental difference between what a man does and
Yeah.
what a man is. A man does all kinds of things.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? But what is he at his core?
Yeah.
That never changes.
Yeah.
And that is what oftentimes young men struggle with.
Yeah.
It's not a coincidence that we are living in an age of where black men can ride out on social media and be totally disconnected from the realities of life.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Whether they're on social media, whether they're gaming.
Yeah.
You know, I've seen young brothers, they game so much, they don't care about what they look like. They
Yeah.
ain't got a haircut in 6 months.
Yeah.
They shoes are run down.
Yeah.
Like, they are caught up. And not to mention those that are caught up in pornography.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? They ride out to pornography
Right.
all day.
That's why I said in my question to you, like, do you see it? But also, you know, a lot of what you heard me mention has to do with financial stability, right?
Right, the
And
basics.
the basics, right? And so, you know, some people will listen to that and say, well, what about spirituality? And what about when you deny yourself as a man, chasing the booty?
Right.
By just putting at the forefront, establishing myself financially,
First.
you develop automatically an attraction to spirituality and
all
other
of those
things,
things come
because
from
you
that.
must develop a discipline and a higher level sense of existing
Yeah.
when you deny yourself chasing ass
Exactly.
nonstop
Right.
to really build yourself something.
Right.
Right. And it's not about having the most money.
No,
But it's
no,
about
no, no,
having
no,
a
no.
system of inflow of income streams and outflow of bills and things like
Of
that.
handling
that
your business.
balance, handling your business that gives you that solid foundation,
Right.
like building a house. You got to check the soil and make
Right.
sure the shit lined up to connect to the city plumbing line, to
Right.
line this shit up with the
Right.
cement slab
Yeah.
first. This is all, I'm just talking about the cement slab. And I'm seeing dudes like arguing with me. Bro, I'm just.
No, that's not
So
an
you don't want
argument.
to lay the cement. You don't want to check the plumbing. You don't want to make sure you got the permits for the situation
Right.
to be ground. This all I'm talking about. I ain't talking about the paint in the house once it's been. I'm just
No,
talking about.
that's the freestyling through life that we talk about. Those foundational things that are not in place.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? So to your point, everything is a springboard from that.
Yeah.
Because a man has to, if he has an obsession, he has to be obsessed to me with manifesting
Yeah.
in this physical reality.
Yeah.
You see
Yeah,
what I'm
you
saying?
gotta
In
see
other
it.
words, at 50 years old, bro, what have you done
Yeah.
that actually accounts for the length of time that
Yeah.
you've been on this planet?
Yeah.
What do you have to
Yeah.
show? And I'm saying besides your children.
Yeah,
You
and
see
that
what I'm
goes
saying?
back to what you said about truth.
Right.
Can you just tell the truth that you ain't did shit?
That you ain't did nothing, that you haven't built anything, so it doesn't
Yeah.
matter what you believe.
Yeah.
If you haven't manifested anything in this physical
Yeah.
reality that is a reflection of your thoughts and ideas,
Yeah.
then you really not a man.
Yes.
You see what I'm saying?
Yes.
You're just someone, in other words, manhood is to move around this planet in power.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying?
I
So
love
if you
that
haven't manifested anything, then you haven't really shown any power
Yes,
in this world.
Yes, I love that you know, because for me, I'm very understanding of where we come from. I love that you know as a man, especially as a black man, that to be a man is power.
It's
and
power.
it's not to say that to be a woman, power doesn't exist
No,
in
it's
that.
a different type of
but
power.
It's completely different. And this world we live in, from the structures we sit in, the vehicles we drive, the roads we drive on, the bridges we go across, the planes we fly, this shit is headed by males.
Yes.
The technology, the mechanicals of it, the
Yeah, the
upkeep
infrastructure.
of it, the infrastructure. There is so much to the existence of us on this planet
Right.
that have to do with the power that lies within men.
Right.
And so I get, so I don't even want to say in my feelings, but there's a side to me that gets upset when I see, especially our men, not grasping
Not
this
grasping
basic
that.
concept.
Right.
That if you decide I'm going to lay that cement slab for myself first before indulging in anything else in any other serious ways, you will develop spirituality, discipline,
Yeah.
organization skills,
Yeah.
because in order to do these things that I'm talking about, All of it
stems from
requires
that.
those skills. So you'll never accomplish it if you don't develop those.
If you don't. And so to your point, now we're beginning to understand, if we didn't before, the true value of manhood.
Yes.
You know what I mean? And what we as men bring to the table. I say all the time, like I said, be serious about manifesting what is in your head in this physical world, that hopefully can live beyond you, that you can pass along to your children. You see, now I've learned over the years to not use the word struggle. I've kind of removed that word from my vocabulary now for about 10 years, because working with my sons, I know that I can't pass that word. I replace struggle with work. You see what I'm saying? Young people are not going to struggle. They will work when the right things are instilled in them. You see what I'm saying? So it's just a kind of changing or using more of a empowering way of expressing a thing, and so that we're not reinforcing the negative.
They're learning. When you're now, if you ain't doing shit,
it don't matter what works.
Right, you're struggling. Struggling. You ain't working on shit and doing shit, bitch, you in the struggle.
Right, because you ain't working.
Right, but when you're, even if it's trial and error, trying to get something done for yourself, you're in the learning.
The vigor
so
of
what you
that
would
thing.
call struggling is really, I'm learning. I fail. I realize I can't go about it that way. That's why I fail. I'm going to get up, try it a different way.
Regroup.
Regroup, reevaluate, learn some new. That's learning. That ain't struggling.
That's the process.
For me, the struggle is when you ain't doing shit.
Exactly.
And you're just going through the low-level shit that you get in life when you just exist.
Yeah. And we will oftentimes, in the culture, send out these memes, the struggle is real, showing some level of poverty or what have you. And even that is not with that, unless that person has just accepted that as their way of life. What I mean?
Let me tell you what comes to my mind when you mentioned earlier about telling the truth in relation to what you're saying now. I have said multiple times, and every time I say it, people get so upset. But when you see people make those Facebook posts or Instagram posts where they say, if all your bills is paid and you don't got no money left, you ain't broke. If there's no money, you're broke.
You're
and
broke.
It goes back to what you said about we don't like to tell the truth.
No, we don't like to tell the truth.
I don't give a fuck that the mortgage and every bill for that month got
if
paid
ain't shit left over, you broke.
And when you tell yourself that you're not, you make it okay to sit
like
at that level, because you make it seem like that level good.
That is a survival level.
Come on.
It don't matter how you living. You see what I'm saying? That if ain't nothing left over at the end of all bills being paid, that is you're existing. That's not a position of power.
Yes,
and you see what I'm saying?
This is I 100% see what you're saying. This is why I teach multiple streams of income.
Got to.
And this is so important for black men, right? To understand. One stream of income is not going to cut it in the United States of America in this day and age.
No.
You need multiple streams of income, and the name of the game is multiple streams of passive income.
Right.
So there's active income where you trade your time for money, and then there is passive income where you can earn money without having to physically do work
to expend labor or energy for it.
Requiring your time.
Yep.
You want to work whatever active stream of income you want with the intent to invest in some sort of passive streams of income.
Right.
This is where you save your mental health from becoming just a laborer all day, every day, nonstop, to where you develop the struggle is real mindset, or you feel like life sucks because everything costs and you can't never get or enjoy what you want, or you just break even on the check to check, bill to bill money, just surviving. Like you said, when you understand this, you realize okay, there is a strategy to this shit.
There's a strategy.
And as a man, I want to be learning and growing and understanding how to set my system up to strategize and play the game.
The game.
I want to get out here and work, and as a man do, but with the intent to make my life easier as I get older, meaning less struggle, even less of the learning in regards to keeping stability. I always want to learn to build my empire, build myself, enjoy life. You know what I mean? But on the cement slab, as I get older, I want to have this shit down packed on how to lay a cement slab.
Yeah, it's got to be solid. I can't at 50 years old still be figuring that out.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Because what have I been doing from the time I jumped off the porch at 18 up until now to justify my existence?
Yes.
I ain't even talking about a woman or children. I'm talking about for me.
Yes.
What have I accomplished that roots me squarely in this world? So that I can have a healthy outlook just for me, to be satisfied and at peace with who I see in the mirror.
Yep. Every time I speak on something that men need to do, change their mindset on, it's with the intent to empower them as an individual. The reason why I'm so passionate on that is because once you guys start really empowering yourselves, it's going to change how we are operating with you guys
I agree.
And our children and the way that we're operating at home.
Yeah, I agree.
The minute men start really establishing themselves, right, in our community, and when I'm saying this, I'm referring to the ones that when we look at their upbringing, like you said, mama babied you into 18, 19-year-old young man.
Yeah.
You don't have no real relationship with your father or men older than you to put information and pass the torch on certain
the game
stuff.
Or what have you.
Don't really know yourself, and you chasing booty or video games or the shit online.
Yeah.
And there is no real reality of what level you're actually at.
Right.
So you can haul ass based on the level you're at.
Yeah.
It's a lot of pretending that I'm on level 12 when I'm really on level 1. I ain't did shit besides fuck a few women raw and create some baby mamas or multiple babies with a woman.
And you will find an ample number of men that coalesce around other men that are on that level, and for them it becomes okay.
Yeah.
It just like every other clique or aspect of you know, the subculture that we be in.
Yep.
You get enough people that's on that, you're okay. You're safe now.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's normalized because shit, it's 10,000 of us that's on this. It's not abnormal anymore. It's completely acceptable in the society, even though, to your point, it doesn't move us progressively forward.
Yes.
You see, it keeps us stagnated.
Yes.
You know what I mean? And it's just a form of escape, you know? And so this
But see, when you, I don't mean to cut you off, but when you realize, because at some point, you know, and correct me if I'm wrong, because you're a man, I'm not. But at some point you realize, like, you know, I don't got it, and mama and them didn't have it either. And when I say got it, I'm not just talking about money and shit. I'm talking about like this concept of how to really maneuver through life besides getting girls. Right? I ain't got it. I know how to work a job, but other than that, I ain't got it. At some point, you have to, like when you realize that, you have to say, okay, I'm going to have to go get uncomfortable to change this. Because family keeps secrets. Family has their certain ways. Family views you as the child they raised, as the brother, the little scrub.
And you never be able to move beyond that.
You're not going to get empowered a lot of the time. For our young men in that same community, you got to go get in a tribe that has what you want.
That reflects,
Yes, that reflects what you're trying to get. And I'm saying this because, okay, I teach, like I mentioned earlier, not just multiple streams of income, but I bring up credit and leveraging credit, right? So I will say to, you know, young men, it's not hard. I say this because when you talk about manifestation, if you can't see yourself actually doing these things, owning properties or, you know, with even your concrete slab foundationally set, it ain't gonna happen. If you can't visualize me in that, I'm in that, right? You won't be able to do it. But I'll say it is easy. And it's as simple as, if I can build my credit profile or fix my credit profile, whichever predicament you're in, and I'm able to get with someone that understands credit funding. And I can get me some high limit credit cards on the personal side, maybe some high limit credit cards on the LLC side by starting the LLC. I can pull the cash off of those cards or from those loans and invest in a property or a business or some assets for myself, make money off of that, pay that money back on the cards or the loan, and keep the profit and move forward and start really establishing myself. It's as simple as being 19, 20, building a credit profile, getting with somebody that helps you get funding. And let's say I get you a $50,000 credit card and a $75,000 credit card. We pull the cash off the credit cards. We go buy a fixer-upper property for $70,000. We then make a budget of about $25,000, $30,000 to rehab it. Then we turn around and get a realtor after she tells us the comps in that area to list it and sell it, right? The money we just made off of selling that property, put back on the cards, and the profit difference, you just made you a bag.
Just made a bag.
And then take that and either do it again or take that bag and reinvest it. It's very easy. What becomes hard is the mindset of the individual that you're telling the shit to. The action was never difficult.
No, the action is never difficult.
And it's not age specific.
No, it's not. And so this whole notion that young people have to be undisciplined when it comes to money is not true. You know what I mean? It's, to your point, it's a matter of what they're taught,
Yep.
and when they're taught it.
Yes.
If they're taught it at a young enough age before we get into these habits, these unhealthy habits, because we know as parents, there comes a time where early in a child's life, you can dress them in any damn thing.
Yes.
They don't have a clue.
Yep.
They'll walk in the mall with shoes on the wrong feet, all kind of shit. You know what I'm saying? But then they reach a certain age to where they become conscious of what they're actually wearing.
Yes.
Colors got to match.
Yep.
Stuff got to, it's got to have a rhyme and reason.
Yes.
You see what I'm saying? So you no longer have to pick out their clothes, so to speak.
Yep.
Once they reach that phase, if you have not begun to teach them some very foundational things about money, and they begin to develop likes and interests that require money to keep up, you're setting your child up for failure.
Yes, the ceiling will be very low for what they believe they can accomplish financially. And you develop certain paradigms, just program beliefs, that it's hard to get large amounts of money. The struggle is real.
Oh, I got it. Everything I get, I got to hurry up and spend it.
Yep.
You see what I'm saying?
Yep.
Because they haven't yet developed the discipline on how to make money, even if it's just doing things around the house. $10, $20, whatever, and holding it and allowing it to accumulate so that you can really get what you want that don't equate to what, you might be with mommy in the grocery store, and because they got it set up with the candy at the checkout counter, you automatically, no, let's work on that self-discipline to forego that candy. Because you got a goal in mind. You trying to save to do this. But I know you like that there. And they put it in your face so that you know, as mama checking out, you can just throw it on the conveyor and get it, but it keeps you away from your goal. Teach that.
Yes, a lot of what you just described, it's very difficult to consistently do this when you're raising a child as a single individual.
Right, I
Because
agree.
there's so much other things, there's so many other things, that need to be taken care of by that single adult.
In that moment,
and people don't realize, like when I speak on the detriment that single mother households play in our community, right? They don't really understand that a lot of our children are an extension of us, right? Meaning as we raise them as a single individual, it has a lot to do with when they get of age and they start wanting this and that, just giving it to them. My baby's spoiled. My son get whatever he want. And it's really us overcompensating for the fact that they don't have two parents like we know they should actively in their life, right? So we overcompensate, we excessively buy and dress, and like we talked about before, the boys start looking like the type of niggas that the mama is interested in. Not on no weird shit, but just this is her way of pouring
what
out.
she sees is manhood, or what she's attracted to. So she's going to create a little mini version of that.
Yes. And so this goes on and goes on, and you get young adults that, when I tell you, they don't be knowing shit of just I do Zooms for just young people. You have to be under a certain age to be in these Zooms. It's so much stuff that this is like regular financial stuff that they should know. But all these kids know is how to clean up their mama house and appeal to her so she can buy them whatever they want.
Yeah.
They will literally tell you that's how they know to organize and survive. And you can see it when they're out in the world. When a problem comes up, they don't care to even try to solve. Call my mama.
Yeah.
Call my mama. Look, boys, man, I'm saying call my mom. The lady said to write this on the application. You think I should write that? Like, bruh, none of his upbringing involved her teaching him to work the mind, show the work, empower him as a young man, as an individual. Not an extension of you. And, even in our community, and I think I've said this before, when we see our young adults graduate or accomplish things, we all in the pictures. Yep, I struggled for 15 years. That's look Ray. That's all me. He looked like his daddy, but bitch, I raised him. Ma'am, get your motherfucking ass out the video or photo and let this young individual be empowered by themselves.
Exactly.
Sorry that the upbringing took your footwork by yourself.
Exactly.
But my nigga,
you can't be in that. Yeah, you can't be in
when
that.
do they get their own individual?
Never do. They never do, because it ain't about them. It's always It's always about them. You know what I'm saying? It's always about the parent looking to have that validation.
And that's how you know that the parent is broken.
Yeah, the parent is absolutely broken.
I don't need to have my successes.
Even if you didn't accomplish what you did. still allow your child to have that opportunity to shine in their own right.
It's very important for their development, confidence,
Absolutely.
self-esteem, also their ability to have a secure attachment style because they feel securely as an individual, well built, right?
Yeah.
And then also I can go out and come back and they acknowledge me as my own person. I can go out into the world, do things, fuck up, accomplish stuff, and come back, and I'm still recognized as my own individual, not a disappointment to you. Because a lot of us, based on the same type of scenarios we're talking about, you go out and fuck up. Your mama, so every bit of verbiage she using, it's like you did her wrong.
Right. Oh,
Where is the empowerment to what I fucking did to my life or myself? You getting on me and chastising me and disciplining me, but you done embarrassed me and you done been out there. How the fuck you fucked up all that money? And I taught you it's
It's all
ma'am, relax. You need therapy.
Yeah,
you need to go see about yourself and get yourself validated in your own goals and endeavors and stop raising those children to be an extension of you.
Yeah, because you're robbing that child of a childhood.
Yes.
If they constantly have to live in the mindset of pleasing you, they're not even going to have fun or take any type of enjoyment around what it is that they're doing, because in the back of their mind, they're always thinking about, if I mess up, what's she gonna say? What's she gonna think?
That I did to her. Not let me think if I mess up what it would do to my life.
Right.
That's why.
Or how I can recover or regroup.
Right.
You see what I'm saying?
In regards to me building myself back up.
Yeah.
This is why a lot of young adults, they don't really believe they did anything bad if their mama don't find out. So you like, bruh, boy, you fucking your life, man. Just be quiet. Don't say nothing about it. As long as my mama, I'm straight.
Right.
My mama ain't. It's more about it hiding shit. So that if she's not upset, I think I'm doing well, even when I'm not doing well.
Yeah, and that creates the perfect segue into the conversation, because let's talk about this generational trauma that be existing in families that are not, things that are not spoken on. Everybody know it, right? But nobody has given voice to it. I've read stories and I've known stories in family members and friends that things have gone on behind closed doors, whether it be with the parents, the grandparents, cousins, what have you, and the trauma has taken place, but people pretending like this shit ain't never happened, and it's reverberating all throughout the children in multiple generations, keeping them family secrets.
I remember, it's crazy you say this, family secrets. I remember when I was younger, and I found out that the family tree structure that I understood from growing up, this auntie, that's cousin, this auntie so-and-so, this your great aunt so-and-so, this my daddy's auntie, this my daddy, mama, this so. When I think I was in my young teens, I realized, like, that's not my cousin. That's not grandma's daughter. That's great aunt daughter, and she had her when she was 15, and then grandma had taken care of her, and I thought that was such and such. It's family. I thought this was my daddy's sister at one point. This ain't his sister. This is my grandma raising this for another family member that got raped by somebody or that didn't. When you're like, why are we hiding this? Whew. And then to what me and you were talking about before, we start recording, when we talk about that particular rule. And you called it what? Like where you don't...
The Chesterton's fence. Yeah.
And you had another phrase for it.
The law of unintended consequences.
Right.
Yeah.
So there's this natural approach where, okay, well, I don't want to say nothing because they ain't saying nothing. I don't want to break down that fence.
Right.
Because nobody else ain't even...
Nobody else ain't saying. So
right.
This is
So
the way
let
to
me
do
lead
it.
the fence. So now I'm calling them so-and-so, but I'm carrying a lie.
Yeah, you
like
carrying
walk
a lie.
around
You
with a lie.
internalize it.
And then when you get to the point where I eventually got, when I was older, and I'm like, enough is enough. Like, fuck this shit. There are a lot of opinion leaders in the family. We are like divided. And I saw the division in my family where we don't really deal with this aunt to a certain extent. Not because we know why, but because mama always held this certain position towards that aunt, right? It got to a point where when I got sick of this shit, I realized, like, two aunts had a falling out back when they was in their early 20s over like $40 or some shit. And because the one aunt didn't pay the aunt back, and now you fast forward, we went years not really being close with her and her children in the ways that we would have wanted to, based on $40.
You know, that kind of sound like the hood version of the Hatfield and McCoys.
Oh my!
You know what I'm saying? Of some shit
But
where family feud
Yes.
behind the pettiest things that could have been resolved just through a conversation.
But when
it has affected multiple generations
Yes, so
of people.
when I realized it and I confronted the generational curses from my upbringing,
Yeah.
I started changing me about how I was operating with my children.
Yeah.
Family members that me and them didn't necessarily get along, I purposely went to my children like, hey, they are good people in these areas. Do not take my disposition. I didn't want that shit to
you
go
didn't want to
on.
pollute
Yes,
or corrupt them.
Because
Yeah.
it's wrong,
It's
bro.
wrong.
That shit is wrong. For my children to not have access to certain resources within the family
and be
that
limited.
could do them
Yeah.
well. Like it was
For
it
the
was
sake
a
of this one area.
Yes, it
Yeah.
was a self-check moment for me, and then I started to really look at the history of where our people got this whole secret keeping with paternity, with why the family is divided in certain areas, why we don't tell certain things that need to be told, why we don't speak up about certain traumas. And every time it led back to historically where we come from as a people, from slavery and not speaking up about being raped by the master. And, I followed the timeline all the way down and I realized, oh, we are just repeating the same trauma behavior, and then some of the behaviors that were necessary at certain points in time in history, the older people are not giving us those reasons why, so we can know whether to tear down the fence at this point or leave the motherfucker up for valid reasons.
Yeah.
Then I started teaching it and I realized it's a lot of women. They don't let their baby daddies be involved with their children because they were programmed to believe that men be raping these kids and dudes be doing this. And my auntie got raped by her uncle in the family, and that was their trauma. It was a real thing.
It really
But
happened.
what does that have to do with the guy from crosstown?
With every man. Yeah, every man is looked at as a potential pedophile or predator.
And it's I just started seeing it everywhere. I saw one woman, she was arguing online with a bunch of different people, but her stance was, my baby daddy is not allowed to change our kids' diapers.
Oh, you got some women that's adamant. They go so far as to not even allow their daughters to sit on their father's lap.
Right.
Like they adamant about that.
She made it clear. He ain't a weirdo. I don't have any justifications in regards to his character as to why I have this rule. I have this rule because of stuff I went through.
Right, exactly. That I'm now projecting
onto the child.
Yeah,
so my daughter relationship may have certain restrictions because I won't go sit and see about my own goddamn trauma. I'm
going to project this on her. This becomes her reality, which is ultimately going to disrupt how she engages and interacts with her own father or any man for that matter in her life, whether it be her brother, her father, whatever the case is. And now I've created this possibly permanent disruption in her life because I didn't seek help for what it was that I dealt with.
That's all it is.
That's all it is.
That's all it is.
And it doesn't even have to go any further than that.
And when you, because, oh my God, you preaching. When you talk about this stuff we talking about now, and you actually go to therapy, a sexual abuse counselor, or go to counseling, they break down to you.
By a professional and not just a YouTube.
Yes, by an actual professional with a degree. Doesn't matter what their personal life looks like, but that individual has they're trained on the formula to remedy this type of stuff.
Give you the tools.
Right. It is very much empowering you to confront.
Not
hide like the old folks, Uncle so-and-so.
It's the exact opposite.
It's the opposite.
Even if the person is dead.
Come on. They say talk about it. They say speak up. They say teach the ones under you what to look at as the character traits of an abuser. Isolation is the first key. Certain things. They break down is so empowering that you come out wanting to go around men and bring your children around men so that you can put to use the information that you learned.
I'm going to tell you that isolation piece, love is a real thing because I've talked to women that have gotten in relationships with men and that man has pulled them away from their entire family. Right? Is now controlling them. They monitoring phone calls, emails. They have no more interaction with the people who have actually made them who they are, right?
In regards to their beliefs and the way they structure themselves.
Something is wrong just based on the fact that there's no communication.
But
You
when
see-
you are married, and I'm saying
Go
this
ahead.
because there are a lot of women that have been through sexual abuse, domestic violence, trauma. They never went and got therapy, right?
Yeah.
And I'm a big advocate for therapy because I've done all kind of therapy sessions that don't even got shit to do with me.
Yeah.
I just did it for the information.
Right,
I'm finna get the
exactly.
game, find out what books y'all got this information. Go read them bitches for my. I'm
Right,
doing it
and
pure.
come back and
for
teach. Mhm.
When you actually go see about your traumas after you go through certain things, it will teach you that things like isolation is a predator's first tactic.
It's the MO, yeah.
A lot of times people don't realize that particular guy will come in and make friends with your mother or a
Right.
key person
The
that you
charming person,
respect.
yeah.
They will come in and it's like, okay, you know, my person in our family that they know I fuck with. This dude come in and build a bond with you, right?
Right.
Which it immediately gives me a certain perception of you because I already have a certain respect for, or a certain perspective of him because I already have a respect
Right.
for you.
Yep.
So you came in and you got right up under my person.
Right.
And
You
you got my big brother
right.
or my uncle or my best friend
On your
fucking
side,
with you,
right.
on your side. So when you go to isolating me, I don't even
It
see
ain't no
it
big
coming.
deal, right? Yeah.
And then after a while,
the family accepts
right?
it,
And
yeah.
by the time
'Cause
y'all,
you cool,
right? And see, by the time y'all say something, I'm like, but bruh, y'all supposed to be friends,
They
and
didn't
you
peep it.
trying to
Yeah.
give me game outside of him so I can step the fuck away.
Yeah.
But I'm looking at you like he set that play up like
He
that
set it up.
from Predator. So
That's
good at this.
That's a
They
predator.
so good at this.
Yeah, that's a predator right there. Come in. There are even men who come into a family and recognize, to your point, that there's damn near like no men
Yeah.
around, and they can have free reign
Yes.
on damn near all the women in the family.
I love what you're saying because I've studied this. Like it was almost like 8 months, and I don't know what got me hooked on it, but I started looking into the psychology of pedophiles. Child pedophiles.
Yeah. No, that's a big thing we're going right now.
When I started looking at I remember I went to the library and I got some books on it, and then the librarian gave me some references to some videos to watch that were interviews with predators that were locked up for life, right? That have raped and did all kind of crazy stuff to kids and things, sickos, right?
Yeah.
They did interviews with cameras set up and had these men articulate how they preyed on children.
What did they look for?
Their type was households with women and children, no men.
No men.
And then when I'm learning this and I look at my culture, it's a whole heap of black women. Fuck these niggas. It's just me and my kids.
Children
hey, ma'am, do you
vulnerable
know
as hell.
that predators, you're creating your household to be his type? Like
Children
children
vulnerable
These
as-
guys
yeah.
is in these interviews on tape. Damn, they're getting a hard on describing how this is the perfect setup.
Yeah.
And I find
The
that
breakdown of family, they exploiting it.
Give me the family unit with the woman and the kids, no man, right? And then also give me a woman that has that victim mentality where I can appeal to her pain point.
Yeah.
Single mothers always got some shit to cry about, right? These niggas
vent
coming in
about.
on what you
Right.
venting about
Yeah.
to play up under you. If
You thinking, or she thinking he interested in her, but he's actually interested in the
and
children.
the child trauma bonding because the man's gonna keep you
He
talking
know exactly
about
what to say.
a healthy adult male that is interested in you is not interested in sitting up talking about problems,
Right.
problems. Like most
With
men
no solution.
with no
Yeah.
solutions
He
and
just listening.
right and no solutions that empower you. Like I
Right.
try to tell women, a man that gives a damn about you. If he is a healthy, stable male, whatever resources he has, he will allow you to utilize those. Because
Absolutely.
he'll come in if there are any issues trying to solve.
To-
Now, whether you allow him to or not is another
that's
story.
what a man does. He
Yes.
come with a proverbial toolbox.
Yes, and his resources, things in
Yeah.
if a man gives a fuck and is really trying to build with you, parts of his life that can be resourceful to you, he will allow you access.
You're supposed to leverage that.
Going
Yeah.
back to isolation, if the nigga is not really on no up and up shit, he not finna allow you around his resources because
Nah.
it's probably another woman or some other shit
Right.
going on
Or he
or some
got another
bullshit intentions.
motive. Mhm.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes. It's hard for women to grasp that concept because
Yeah.
we're so stuck on do it by myself, be by myself,
Right.
independent. I'm in a single season. Fuck these niggas. So you can't. And the type of niggas the type of men or predators that prey on children and
Yeah.
weak people, they like those setups.
Yeah, I can see that in that. To your point, speaking to those pain points, speaking to the trauma that you know exists, the disappointment that you know that woman has experienced
Yeah.
in her failed relationships or what have you, that always becomes a reference point for you to create conversation
Yep.
around and gain sympathy
Yes.
around. You know what I mean?
Yes.
So to your point, that becomes your way in.
Yes.
And so the more you do that, the more comfortable she becomes with you,
Yep.
and thus allows you to have all kind of access to her home.
Yep.
You see what I'm saying?
Yes.
Under the guise of he understands me.
Yes.
But he's setting you up the whole
Yes.
time.
And it's healthy people do not want to sit around and talk about trauma.
Nah.
There
nah.
may be once or twice in the history of the relationship that we discuss some serious traumatic shit.
Right.
But
yeah.
after we
after I know it, okay, what we doing about it?
Right. That is where a healthy person
Yeah.
is gonna go always. Black, white, Asian, young,
Yeah.
old, Indian, I don't give a damn their race, ethnicity. A healthy individual that psychologically is in a good space, they want to solve.
Yeah.
They want to take care of.
That's
not
what a man
sit
does.
up and talk. When you go into poverty or into a lot of situations where there is not a lot of health in the psyche, it's a bunch of trauma being talked about.
And a man can tell just by how a woman describes what it is that she's dealing with or dealt with, whether or not she's actually processing
Yep.
it the proper way. To your point about therapy, any therapist that's worth their weight is always going to do what you just said, bring you back to that initial pain
Yep.
point,
Yeah.
right? And give you, to your point, confronting that,
Yes.
right? Not running from it, but confronting
Confronting
that,
it.
and then teaching you the tools on how to process that so that it no longer moves you into self-destructive
Yeah.
behavior. That's the whole point
Right.
in therapy.
So now think about this, right? People have studied the psychology of the human mind in hundreds of thousands, to the point now it's millions of people, different cultures,
Right.
races, all of that, right? And so, I started learning this stuff and I realized, okay, every avenue of therapy requires a confront of the problem. When I look at the elders in our communities and even in my family, they don't want to even talk about the shit.
Yeah.
Don't say that so-and-so ain't so-and-so baby daddy. No, don't say that your mama did that. No, you don't want to do. No, that's disrespectful if you bring up that was done. So we're doing the opposite of what it has been proven to be the remedy to this crazy ass fucked up shit that's going on with us mentally.
Yeah.
But
But that was the way they did. That was the way, which was
right.
totally
so
wrong.
now when
to
we
your
go back
point.
to those fences, right?
Right.
When that fence was originally put up, the purpose for it made sense for the time that great grandma may have been in.
Right.
Lack of women's rights, certain stuff going.
Right.
I 100% have
Jim
dug
Crow,
into history
you
to
name-
find
yeah,
out why did you even start doing this?
Right.
I got it.
A lot of it comes out of the fact that it's just what we had to do to survive.
That's what
Yeah.
I'm saying. So based on the economy and things that were going on with our people, I get it. I get it. We have fast forward where that is no longer necessary.
Right. It's no longer the reality.
And it's not doing us well.
Right.
We are holding on
we
to
can see it.
secrets and trauma. And see, this is what I learned when I really started studying what therapists teach. When you walk around with, let's say I got some baggage, like grandma and them do, that you don't even know about it. So it ain't that you finna find me out, but it's sitting on me. It makes me easily triggered because I know that there are things that I hold on to that are out of ethics.
Right.
There's an inner, unless you're a psychopath, naturally you develop a
There's an
sense
inner
of like,
disruption.
I was wrong for that. Even if I don't tell nobody I was wrong for that.
You know.
Hey, I told that nigga that this was his baby and it really ain't. I'm on, got the family believing that this is this. He may never find out. But your inner, and it plays a role in your balance. Balance is health. Right? So now when you off balance, you easily trigger. You're defensive because you're defending yourself in moments that people ain't even saying nothing offensive to you. But it's that inner.
You're going to refer back to that because that ain't been resolved.
Yes, that's where the mind is going to go.
Yeah.
That's why even because I've studied multiple religions. And when you look at even the organization of like Scientology, they teach to confront the constricted issues in the mind to get your shit right.
Yeah.
You go to
To free
traditional
you.
therapy. They want you to confront the issues that are causing the traumas and the unhealthy attachment styles, the issues with your personality and character traits and the way that you bond, your love language. Why is it like that? Why are you attracted to those type of men or women? It's a confront.
Yeah,
And then,
you see it even within the institutions that deal with addiction. addiction, that it teach those people to confront that issue with the 12-step program, and and a number of others, where you actually, to your point, you say what the issue is that you're dealing
out
with.
loud.
You see what I'm saying? Out loud in front of everybody.
And I'm an alcoholic.
This is my issue.
You
see what I'm
own
saying?
it.
Yeah, you
It's
own it.
owning it.
Because only at that point, and to your point, you begin to get taught the tools. Now you're able to process it in a healthy way.
Yes.
Because processing it, to your point, in an unhealthy way, 100% moves us into the sphere of self-destructive behavior.
Yes. Because
that's what unresolved trauma
when you
does.
don't want to name it, you do that conflicting inner, where you're defensive and easily triggered, overly emotional, unbalanced within self.
Taking it out on everybody.
You struggle to get right in spirituality, regardless of what religious beliefs you have, because you know that you're not being honest. And in most all religions, right, the majority, the main ones, there is a sense of truth with your higher power.
That's designed to develop your character.
I don't care if it's Yahweh, God, Allah, Buddha, the Honorable Elijah Muhammad.
Right.
God darn it. Like when you...
There's some discipline involved.
There is discipline, but there's the idea that higher power sees and knows all. So it's like, you know you're doing this bullshit. You walking around lying about it, or lies by omission, right? And then you know it's conflicting with you being tight with
to
what
your
you
higher
say,
self.
right? What you say you believe in. And so for me, in our community, it's fucked up for us when all of the solutions lie in owning it, telling the truth. We saying don't talk about it. When somebody finally do, expose the secret, then everybody telling more lies to lessen the blow of the secret. I remember when, in my family unit, one of my close family members found out that their son doesn't belong to them, right? When I found this out, and this is my sibling, my older brother, it was like when it got told to me, I was young and I'm like, wait a minute, so this not, and that's all y'all gonna say? Yeah,
they was
like, and I like,
and love, but I know you had to now try to make sense of however old you were when that happened. You had to now try to make sense of your whole life, because you were rooted in that reality. Look, y'all got to understand how much damage, psychological damage, emotional damage that this causes. You saying that, I felt that.
I'm gonna tell you this. I have prayed for my brother, and I still pray for him in current time on how he mentally deals with that. Because
that's deep, man.
For me, as the sibling, I ain't even like it, I'm not the parent. And I felt a certain kind of way, like hoodwinked, like what the fuck?
It uprooted
and then they like,
you
don't talk about it, don't
of
say nothing.
everything.
No, it's shut up. Yep, in the family, no, now be quiet. Huh?
If it uprooted you, just imagine what it did to him.
That's
where you now had they moved on, like you could just, like it was you just snapping. You know what I mean? You woke up from a sleep.
And what got me was when men, and I know this in our culture because I've seen it. I could sit here for 10,000 hours, genuinely. I'm not exaggerating the number.
Right.
And just discuss the things that, as a culture and as women, we confront head on with men. But if you bring up where a woman has lied to not only the father, but the family. You got grandmas thinking it's their grandbaby. You got aunties thinking this my nephew. You got people like their life structure, their family tree is mentally written in this way. And when the shit comes out, bitches like, oh, well, just, y'all be quiet about it. Oh, you just still take care of them. Oh, no, you don't ask us nothing. Y'all leave that girl alone. Oh, you doing too much. Are y'all fucking nuts?
Is what, as I'm listening to you describe that, I get this vision of a puzzle, right? And a piece of the puzzle has been taken out at the realization of that thing. And now we are supposed to pretend as if that puzzle is complete.
Yeah, like the piece ain't missing.
Like the piece,
just don't, hey, stop looking at that. Oh, sometimes they'll tell you don't see what you see. Yeah, he's still his daddy. No, he's not. He's not. He's not biologically. So let's just start saying that.
Right.
Now he can move forward and be whatever it is that y'all sort out.
Right.
But let's put this, because when
We
you
gotta
talk
deal
about
with the
healing,
reality.
you
Yeah.
confront the fucking trauma,
You gotta
the lie,
confront the
and you put it to rest.
reality.
You put it to rest by
Yeah.
being honest and telling the truth. That's how you
Yeah.
get it behind you.
Yeah.
That's how you move forward.
That's
and
how
we
you move
know, and we
forward.
seem to know this as black people about every other area.
Yeah.
Even when we
Except-
get our ass in trouble in court.
Right.
When you get in court, they don't just skip to just what
The sentence. No,
the
they
state
make you-
gonna.
they make
this
you-
is so and so. They're gonna go through all the shit you
Yeah,
did and make
yeah.
you confront
Yeah,
it, what
it's
you
a
was
process,
convicted on.
yeah.
They're gonna make you, and you gonna state whether you're guilty or not guilty. But before you say that, on this current crime, they gonna state the charge. They're going to speak out loud what you're being. We don't want to speak nothing out loud. We want to just, and it's so unhealthy.
But even before you get sentenced, they gonna allow you an opportunity to get it right with
Yeah.
the court.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
still gonna get sentenced.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But that's the confession.
Yes.
So to
Because
speak, or the confronting of what you actually did.
It's in religion.
Yeah,
You know,
it's-
when
yeah.
you any religion, there is a point in that
Atonement, all of that.
where you are confessing your sins, so
Yeah,
to
you
speak,
gotta-
just to
yeah,
keep it common. And I'm not saying they have to be confessed to the general public.
No.
But
It's the process.
The fact
Yeah.
that it's in every bit of what we operate off of as humans, including the legal system, including therapy, including religious beliefs, there has to be some sort of healing and freeing in it.
Right, that's
to
what it's designed
genuinely
to do.
did. I did that. That was my fault.
Yeah.
This hurt a lot of people. I will own that. That's on me. Now I'm human. I would like to move forward from, like, have some motherfucking dignity and ethics.
This is what I learned from this situation.
Yes.
Yeah. Even those people that are sentenced to death, they give them an opportunity with last words.
Yep.
You see what I'm saying? To,
Make
it's not
your
gonna,
peace.
Make your peace.
And like you said, before sentencing, you kill somebody, even with murder, they allow you to stand up and address the victims' families. This is that moment of, and it's not for no reason. There is healing to the family
Right.
and you
Getting free of
admitting or
that.
getting, and everybody don't do the right thing with it. Same
Right.
thing I'm saying about what's happening in
Right.
our culture. But on both sides, there is a freeing, and
There's
let me
the
put this matter
opportunity.
behind me. Do my time or whatever is in front of me
Right.
with the ownership that I did what the fuck I did.
And now I can work on recovering from that. Yeah.
You got family members, bro, you was wrong for saying that. You was wrong for telling people that wasn't your
you was
baby.
wrong for
you was
saying
Are
it.
y'all on crack?
Yeah.
Are you nuts?
You was wrong for even confronting that.
But for me, and that's exactly what they tell you, but every bit
Yeah.
of healing in therapy and everything tells you to confront. You
Yeah.
confront your accuser, confront your fucking traumas, name them, own them. Learn the functions to overcome them. Even the concept of forgiveness, if we get into religion and just being a good person, right?
Yeah, right.
It is the concept that you have gotten through and you have accepted moving forward from the impact of a wrongdoing or an
Right.
injustice. The impact. It doesn't say I'm over what you did. The impact of what you did, what it had on me, the impact that it had on me, I have processed and came to terms with that. And so I'm willing to move forward. You can do no forgiveness if you're not even willing to be honest about what was done to you. You can't ask someone to forgive you if you're not even willing to admit that you did something to be forgiven for.
Yeah.
So this is absurd.
It's
and
absurd.
it bothers
It's
me because
insane.
I see
Yeah.
older women in their 50s and 60s, older men in their 40s, they carrying on. No, y'all don't talk about that.
Yeah.
No, don't tell them
The
about
shame
that.
and guilt that becomes associated
Yep.
with that trauma, that person who is the traumatizer or the one who was traumatized
Yep.
is still wearing.
Yep.
And the family is now bogged down
Yeah.
from that with that disruption.
Yep.
You know what I mean? We're social people, so that person is still coming around at the cookout,
Yep.
still coming
And they
around
tell
at the
you,
family
shh,
reunion, still coming around at social gatherings.
with no
You
clarity.
see what I'm saying?
No clarity.
Yeah. And he or she victimized this person. Now that person is in the same presence, and now they gotta pretend like
Yep.
everything cool.
Yep.
That person may be married now,
Yep.
and the spouse don't even
Yep.
know.
Yep. Yep. We
But
fake
the
as-
whole family know. But the husband or the wife who's been married in don't even know
Yep.
what didn't happen.
It kills me. I've been places and people like, oh, he looked like you. That ain't even that man, baby, ma'am. Like you feel fake when you get to a point in life where I'm at, and you're wanting to stand on truth. Because I'm not. If you notice, I'm not saying we're not gonna fuck up, myself included, make poor choices, do bullshit in the moment, trying to hide or overcome certain things that we're going through. Not saying it's not gonna happen. I'm saying as a group, by the masses, we should not be promoting these type of secrets because they're the opposite of healing. We should not, as a group, be shaming people that are wanting clarification and to speak out. It's the opposite of what is the correct way to go about healing the psyche. And then you wonder why we have so many mental health issues or people struggling with emotional management. Because you stay in your feelings. You stay in the feelings and out of reality. You can't really successfully manifest or be intuitive because you are in the triggers. You are in the defense. And I'm sure you've met people, you can see them online, but even out in public, anything makes them feel like something is being done to them. The smallest shit. And you like, damn, they'll cry quick or lash out. And then we've glorified to a certain extent. I talk to black men about this. Y'all love to like indulge in she fine as hell with her mean self. It is not okay to walk around rude and mean all the time.
All the time.
You like her for the good pussy and the nice body. Maybe she got a pretty face, but that person's attitude is nasty as fuck. It's not cute.
Energy,
stop glorifying that.
Exactly. Stop making excuses as to why that's okay when it's not.
Yes, and then when she raised your daughter to have that same kind of attitude, and she displaying that
to you.
Now you chastising the little girl. Don't talk to daddy like that, and don't do. But
You know, it's this whole again, going back to the barbershop, it was a guy in there, and he was in the barbershop with his light-skinned daughter. She was about 4 years old, and a group of men in there, and it was like, boy, you got you one, she gonna get them niggas hell. And I'm saying to myself,
that is not
you see what I'm saying?
The type of niggas she gonna attract. And I think me and you discussed this briefly before, where and I'm gonna tell you, I learned this, and it's funny you mentioned barbershop. When I graduated high school, I owned my own salon, and then I had a clothing store. And then I was in the streets, and then eventually I moved out of my salon into a barbershop. And so this is where I got a lot of knowledge. So I was a female doing hair in the barbershop. and it's a thing about older dudes that don't give a fuck, like the ones that he older, he cut hair, he got his own house. He ain't chasing ass, he's secure. Boy, them niggas will cut you deep because they gonna tell you the truth.
Yeah, absolutely. Whether you're ready for it or not.
I got checked and straightened so many times about so much different stuff, but the idea is, as they giving the game and I'm, receiving it, you realize like you will attract a certain type of man based on what type of woman you are.
Right.
So they used to tell me in the barbershop, certain type of dudes that's ready for the fight will approach the strong-faced women, the ones that's walking around with the unapproachable attitude, the popping the neck, and my mama said, and the little girl. You're going to attract dudes that's on that rough stuff.
Exactly. Every time.
The women that open up with a welcoming smile, the femininity is oozing. You're gonna get the men that
resonate with that.
They will approach you based on like, I ain't trying to fight to get no woman.
Right.
I'm trying to find one that's on her feminine
attraction.
And he doesn't have that rah-rah rough side towards a female.
Right.
You got to think, if you oozing every bit of a fighter out of you, the type of niggas that's approaching you is
he
ones
a fighter too.
Okay.
Yeah. You're attracting what you are.
Now
y'all
over there beating the shit out of each other.
Absolutely. Stay at odds. You know what I mean? You can't get him to calm down. He can't get you to calm down. Can't nobody take the higher road on nothing.
When an old head broke that down to me in the barbershop, it's like a light bulb clicked. Like, it makes sense. He was like, love, you at the gas station, you pumping your gas. If you don't look pleasant or whatever, if a dude is coming over there to approach you, chances are he one of them dudes that's up for a fight.
Yeah, absolutely.
And if he established, they was explaining to me, no established man that has things going on for himself, that foundation, is going out looking for some crazy fight.
No.
To just get you in a soft space.
Because it's too disruptive. You know what I mean? He got, first of all, he's at a point in life, and this goes back to having your foundations in order, to where he knows that will do nothing but disrupt his peace.
Yep. Come on.
And you as a man, when you reach a certain age, you realize it's peace over pussy.
Yeah.
Now, when you young, you don't see it like that. And so you,
Yeah,
to
it's
your
like,
point,
I
you
take the
ready
chaos
you
to get
take
to
the
the pussy.
toxicity, you know what I mean? You overlooking all kind of things
Yeah.
because your goal is the bedroom.
Yeah.
But when you've already accomplished that and you've moved on and, to your point, established yourself, you just want to be able to cut your hair,
Yeah.
get your bread,
Yeah.
go home, and things be in order.
Yeah.
Whether a woman is there or not.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? And so this whole keeping of family secrets, right? The fear and anxiety
Yeah.
that comes from keeping the secrets, not being able to speak on things, and children are growing up. They kind of sense something is
Yeah.
wrong, but they ain't sure of it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? One sibling may look like this, and then
Yep.
the other one may look the exact opposite.
Yep.
You know what I mean? And ain't nobody spoke on the fact,
Nothing.
to your point, that those children do not have the same biological
Nothing.
father.
I listened to a conversation with a dad trying to explain to his son that his new baby brother is not going to be his son too. And the little boy kept saying, but he my brother. So you his daddy too. So you gonna teach him how to be successful like you told me? You gonna teach him to be, and he kept trying to explain it, and the little boy kept saying, but that's my brother.
And the little boy
his
ain't wrong.
idea was,
Yeah.
this is my brother, you
Yeah.
my daddy, so you his daddy too.
Right.
And it's like the daddy telling him, but he was too young to process
understand, to
it.
process.
But
and
it-
ain't even supposed to be trying to process that.
Right, but these are the situations,
realities,
the
yeah.
realities of how we got things going, and we should be more united to where that conversation could have been had with both parents.
Yeah.
Because for me, when I listen to it, I feel like the mom should have been present to be a part of that, to
be a
add
part
to
of
the
that.
child's
Yeah.
comfortableness with accepting this concept.
Exactly.
But he
To
got to
make it
hear
more
this
balanced.
from dad,
Yeah.
and then go back home, and who knows if his little mind asks the question the same way he asked it to his dad. There's confusion, and we don't give a fuck.
And if the mom
Like,
is not at a good place emotionally, she gonna take that out on him
Yep.
to where he
Stop
may not
asking
even
about
ask.
that
Yeah,
shit.
you
Don't
see what
nobody
I'm
care because
saying?
your daddy said this ain't his baby.
Right.
Like, it could go all kind of ways.
All kind of ways. All kind of ways. You know, that again, this whole notion of sexual assault, right? A young girl having a baby at 13 years old. I remember
We're
a young
just now
woman-
discussing how a lot of, older people were dating 30-year-olds in high school. We just now
Yeah, that's-
coming out on the
that's-
internet and saying that
as teenagers,
as we
yeah.
seeing all of these successful men in music and things like that get accused of certain stuff.
Yeah.
Now we're wanting to admit your
But it has
mama
to
used
come-
to
yeah.
fuck with a 30-year-old man when she was 16. He used to pick her up on lunch from the high school, take her to McDonald's, bring her back. We just not. If y'all would have told us, dog.
Because what young girl at 16 is not gonna be wooed by a 30-year-old man buying her snacks?
Yep, and it didn't. When I'm gonna
or
tell
some tennis shoes.
Yes, I'm gonna tell you. Like, I have a homegirl that now in adulthood we discuss it, right? Because she's woke on this stuff like me. But she talked about, and she had to bring it to my attention because I was the nerd girl in school that I played basketball, and I was unaware of like the concept of boys and boyfriends. Like, my daddy had me operating a certain way, right?
Right.
So when she described it, I thought back and I'm like, damn, okay, that was going on. But she described like she had a boyfriend that was older. He was like probably 29, 30, but he had an old school car on rims. He used to come and pick her up. And when she went back through it, I remember like, oh, that was going on. He was 30? Yeah, and we was like 16. And he would take her to go get something to eat on lunch. Sometimes they'll fuck, bring her back to school. Like, and the parents never, you see what I'm saying? And
Wow.
then after a while, you start having these conversations with your peers and you realize, like, eventually my mama found out, but because he was buying me shoes and giving me money,
She
and then
just turned-
sometimes I gave her
turned
some of the
over
money.
to him. Yeah, corrupted the whole family.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
it was acceptable to the elders that were raising us at that time. And then now we sitting here and, we're
Wonder
speaking
why
out
we
again. Come
yeah.
on.
Yeah, and where it all has its root. Y'all got to see the value in this conversation, and even outside of that, the value of Love Dorsey. These conversations are so important because the surface stuff that of what we be talking about, that's just entertainment. That don't even get to the root of these issues. And then number two, it doesn't solve anything. So if you get anything from this conversation, like Love said, you got to confront. You got to be willing to confront those things that you know have created a disruption in your life, in the life of your children, and in the life of your family, and have the courage, right, to go through the turmoil.
Yeah, because it will be uncomfortable.
Yeah,
you'll upset the elders.
And you gotta love you enough to do it. You gotta love your children enough, and all of the generations that are going to come from you enough to put this thing in order, so that, because unresolved trauma, like they say, can stay in a family up to 7 generations.
Yes, I can't tell y'all how many different friends or family members at some point in my career of building my platform has said, ring, 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 why you made that video about such and such? Like, I don't like that. And it don't even have to be about them. It's some shit that they know they probably was doing. And it's like, as a relative to me, they want to like entice me to take it that I'm not.
And it's almost like what they say, airing out dirty laundry.
Yeah, right. But the reason why we're even repeating the same dirty laundry as our elders is because nobody will talk about it.
Yeah, nobody.
It's just like when I speak on, in this culture of, I'm going to be a single mama before I ever worry about finding a man that will marry me and pour into me as a young woman and me into him, I'm going to have a baby. This culture, we get it from those that raised us. We did not wake up. And young girls are not solely at fault for their decision on birthing a baby right now. There is a large group of us as older women to them that encourage them to do that. We encourage them to make it the responsibility of the man if they get pregnant or not, when we're the ones that before the baby even born has went through the most stuff. But we're saying, put the responsibility on him. Ask him why he nutted in you if he didn't want no baby, over making every dude wear protection that you sleep with.
As if she did not have no control over that situation also.
And you're correct. And as if she's not going to have it the worst in regards to the effects. Me and you have a baby, my belly done changed, my hormones, my skin, my nose done got wide, my thighs bigger.
And that's before the baby even comes.
That's what I'm saying. So now by the time the baby get here, my analogy is I'm 100,000 in before you ever put in anything physical. My physical has changed.
Sometime for life.
Yes. Yes, some of us never bounce back.
Right.
And then there is the recovery of that. And you just putting in your physical right then. Why would you encourage young women to go through this?
It's a
but
setup.
I have Zooms full of women that say, yeah, love, I realize now, because my mama then was saying, like, they'll help me take care of it. Fuck that dude. We don't need him. Why are you doing this to these younger people, bro?
And why are you even accepting that it's okay?
Yes.
When you can already look back and see at least 3 generations where this has not worked.
Yes. If I'm raising daughters. So, for example, when I have this talk with them, and we talk about it often, like I tell them, women are the ones that make the decision to bring a child into the world.
Right.
I've explained to them the way that abortion works and how it's set up, even in a hospital. If you come to the hospital or the abortion clinic when I'm getting rid of a baby and you like, hey, I don't want her to kill my child, they ain't finna listen to you.
No, they ain't
Sir,
about to listen.
You have to leave.
Right.
Security. He don't got this your baby in me. You don't got no motherfucking say so.
Nah.
So I empower my daughters to know the truth about what the fuck is going on the front end with this shit. So every woman you look at that's crying about how many babies she got and how hard it is, her ass made that decision herself.
Yeah, she made
no
that decision.
man gets to make the decision on whether the baby born. I know plenty of dudes that wanted the mama to get rid of it, and she said no, and the baby is here. He don't got no motherfucking say so.
Either way, he ain't got no
the
say so either way.
law does not support him on that. We as the women ain't finna listen to him when we feel like we want to keep a child. So I teach my daughters, first things first, before you ever worry about raw sex or having a baby with a dude, is does that man want to do it for life with you? Doesn't matter if y'all make it in a 40-year marriage. Is he even interested in doing that?
Is that his intent? Yeah.
And the intent has to be outside of his words. And I talk to them about this.
What to look for.
It's more than just a dude saying, I want to marry you and I want you to have my baby. Because if you're really trying to do this, you're going to respect the fact that I want the marriage first. I want the commitment and the workings, and not just we finna run out and get married. But I want to see in your disciplined, consistent, habitual behavior that you are attracted to a family unit.
Absolutely.
Because niggas is verbally
willing,
telling us one
oh,
thing, but
yeah.
got an independent.
Yeah, they say anything to smash. You know what I'm saying? That because that is the objective
Yes.
oftentimes, and they ain't seeing. They're not interested in anything beyond that.
Yep.
You know what I mean? Now you brought up a good point with with your daughters, and I like to teach the relationship dynamics on the front end in terms of, and I shared this with you last time, that a man may pursue a woman. That woman may be pursued by several men, but the woman ultimately is in a position of power because she decides on who she's going to get with by way of a relationship.
Yes.
So even understanding that, a young girl understanding that she is in the power position to decide whether or not there's even a relationship in the first place has to be understood.
Yep.
So whatever comes as a result of that, these are the decisions that you made because you could have chose any other guy.
Yep.
But you specifically chose this guy. Now, let's discuss the reasons why.
So when I'm gonna tell you for young women, because again, I'm raising daughters. Like I have 2 teenage daughters, right? When I'm talking to them and I see how they operate, and I go back to how I operated, when we get in our hormones and attraction is there, we're not thinking past, I just want this guy to like me. Like I want this guy. I'm not
The
looking at
attention and the affection is everything.
And
That's
if you
the driver.
give me enough attention, enough compliments, enough of the kissing or the hugging or the texts to want to be around me or making me feel good about myself, I'm a fold even if your character ain't
flawed,
on the up
right.
and up if no one laces me up with what to look for.
Right, because ain't nobody before me built her up to where she has a healthy self-concept.
And in no way, shape, or form do I expect my daughters to know what those things are without me and their father like instilling that in them.
If not, anybody can come in and we'll run game on them.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna say this. Some of it is game, but some of it is just a part of teenage and young adult attraction.
Right, and being interested or curious.
Like the dude, like a lot of these young men, they not lying that, oh, you so pretty and I like you and I wanna. They truthful about that.
Yeah.
And even in that moment, and I really want you to like elaborate on this. In that moment, I may want to be in a relationship with her. After I nut.
Then
something but do you I've had men tell me after I slept with her, I no longer wanted the relationship, but I wasn't out for sex by itself at first.
No.
It was like once I got my nut off that I had been chasing her to get,
it's the chase.
I felt different.
Some men are enamored by the process of the chase,
right,
and the conquering of a woman, right. And so once they feel as though they've conquered her by way of sexual intimacy, it's like,
now
what else is there?
Yeah.
Because that was the focus.
Yeah.
It wasn't, and a woman should be able to tell whether or not a man is even interested in building with her. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And know the difference between a man who is pursuing her for the objective of sex, or if a man is truly interested in actually building power with her.
Right.
You see what I'm saying? And so teaching women, to your point, what to look for and to differentiate from those type of men will keep a woman out of a whole lot of issues.
Yeah.
Because there are certain things to look for. Now, we as men, we've all have our time and season where we've objectified the woman. Yeah. Because we live in a society that promotes that.
And we do it.
And women do it. You see what I'm saying? But even when I was a young boy, I used to see it on TV. You see, it's so prevalent now to where people don't even look at it as objectification. It's just what it is.
So have you ever, like in your younger years, have you ever liked a girl and thought, like, I want her to be my girlfriend, but then after you slept with her, you didn't want that?
It was no interest beyond that.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? It was no interest beyond that. And even sometimes, because the man is wired a certain type of way when it comes to sex, even the man that's in an active relationship with a woman has a level of disengagement after he ejaculates. Yeah. You know what I mean? He will be like, I'm good, let me just You know what I mean? Yeah. So, and it doesn't mean he don't love her or he don't care about her. He was in pursuit. Yeah. He accomplished the mission. Yeah. Now I'm good. Yeah. You know what I mean? And so we're gonna continue on with and it ain't that at all. We coming back. Yeah. Not just for sex, but for the relationship itself. But in that moment of accomplishment, let me Let me be, you know what I'm saying, in my own energy right now. You know what I'm saying? Or as they say, get off me, go. I'm good.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Our young girls aren't getting this verbiage.
They got to get it.
And for me,
They got to get it, love.
It makes it hard. Like if you could just displace yourself in the moment to be one of them and just look at what you know about a lot of these young men, they got it difficult.
Because they do. Because for a woman, sexual intimacy for a woman is oftentimes designed or with the intent to strengthen the bond.
Yes.
You see what I'm saying? But for the man, it can be that, but oftentimes it's to relieve stress.
Yes, that's what I'm getting at, because I talk to a lot of young women.
It ain't about strengthening no bond. So we come into it on two different levels.
Yeah.
So once his stress is relieved, he ain't looking to bond with you like that, Queen. I'm sorry. That's what you were looking for.
But this stuff, like my mind keeps going to these young girls that are going into 19, 20, 21, 20, and they're not being told this.
Yeah, they got to know that, because
the
otherwise
majority
they're
of the guys that are showing interest in them and their innocence is he wants to be my boyfriend.
Yeah.
And like you said, he's trying to, right, that's what I'm saying. I talked to guys that they were like, no, love, I did want to, lock her down when I first seen her, and we went on a few dates, but after I fucked, I ain't.
And to your point, in terms of the women, that's why women, y'all have to make sure the man is genuinely interested in you beyond that, because after the nut, you begin to look different.
Yeah. That's the exact verbiage,
you know what I'm saying?
that guys have used different when they explain it to me.
You look different at that point, especially if that was all he was interested in.
Yeah.
So if you ain't gay, if you ain't said nothing, if you haven't shared anything that creates depth in the conversation or potentially in the relationship, since you actually setting yourself up for failure.
And
so if your whole conversation is hair, nails, how fat your ass is, how you setting yourself up to be played.
Yeah, and that's such a self-esteem hit for a young woman, thinking that, how you said, after you sleep with me, I look different, right? In some scenarios, and in my mind, I'm the same me.
Now we see all the flaws that we overlook,
right? But that's what I'm saying.
We see all the flaws.
But I don't know that, right? So I'm over here on the phone with my homegirl, girl, he ain't answering the phone no more. He used to text back seconds later when I text him from the beginning. Ever since we slept together the other night.
Mission accomplished. Why? What I'm gonna show you attention for? I got other pursuits. You know what I'm saying? And I'm in this pursuit season. I'm in the season of pursuit, and I'm in my conquering phase of life. You know what I'm saying? But so at the end of the day, again, family, we know why these conversations are important, and we're going to continue to have them. We're going to continue to share with you, and we appreciate you tuning in. If you like this episode, you better like and subscribe to the channel.
Yes,
because
do that.
Again, you never know what you're gonna miss.
Right.
Subscribe to the channel, and we're gonna keep bringing you that heat. Relax and take notes. DJ Jordan, Love Dorsey.